Hello class, my name is Victor Pogo, and this project I'm about to present is about improving mud building technology. Mud building has been in existence for so many years, and it, it has been used by our forefathers, our ancestors in the West Africa, Asia, and even the Americas, both South Americas and the Central Americas, and even Mexico. And the technology has been used for so many years, but I think it's high time we go back to renewable resources by using these mud houses and improve their old technology. Upon this, I decided to go into a research and make a project out of it. So the title of my project is Improving Mud Housing Technology by Reinforcing. One may ask, what is mud house? A mud house is any house made of dirt or earth. So it could be made of clay, soil, sand, mixed with other substances that harden the soil to reinforce it. Sometimes they use mash and other stuff to reinforce the soil. And when you go further, it's very interesting because mud is a sustainable material and almost free and could be found everywhere in this world. But I don't know for what reason people are not even researching on it no more, and we actually abandoned mud houses and now going to totally concrete and other stuff of houses. This mud houses has got a lot of advantages for our ancestors, and they didn't even have to involve. They didn't use AC, they didn't use electricity, but the house stayed cool all the time throughout all the temperatures. Hot or cold, the house remains the same temperature. And it was really good and very economical and sustainable. So the types of mud houses so far we can talk about, one would be adobe type. That's the bricks which were made from the sun, which are well dried and laid on the foundation to form the house. That's the adobe. And there's another one called rammed earth. It's done by using wooden formwork, and the mud is placed in between the formwork and rammed to hold the layers together and let them to dry. The roof is then made up of straws and wooden rafters. There's another one which also they made the mud house and roll them into balls and fix them into wood frames. That's also another type. Now let me talk about the advantages of mud house. The advantage of mud house: mud is durable. It could withstand various weather conditions, as I said earlier, cool or hot. No previous skills are needed when you are doing mud houses. It just needs a little skill, direction, and anybody can learn it within few minutes or few hours. You teach them how to make mud houses. It's very interesting, And another thing too is non-toxic. Mud does not have any chemical agent known to be harmful to the human body or harm the lungs if you inhale it. Isn't that interesting? There's another thing you get to know about mud. It's dust free. Do not worry about any dust because mud does not collect dust as much as traditional home concrete or wooden houses does. See? And all this, I don't know why we are not using mold free. There's no mold issues when you have a mud house. And it's also the cost effective is very low cost construction. And the labor, it normally is the neighbors come together and with a little skills, they they come up with their mud house. And the most advantageous thing to you know about mud house is that you don't even need air conditioning in a mud house, because when it rains or the weather is cool, the mud maintains the coolness, and when it's hot, it starts to heat up the mud inside the building, and it doesn't come into the building, so it stays the same temperature. Very nice. And there's no waste generation, so you don't have to throw out any waste like plastic or anything, metal or anything, for you to contaminate the soil. Disadvantages. The disadvantage of mud houses is that it can be insects can attack the wood frames that is used to form the house, and the floors are uneven because it's normally not cemented. It's not a concrete floor, so it's not even. And because normally the topsoils are not compacted very well. And the exterior walls also sometimes deteriorate because when the rain hit the walls, which are rough in nature, and it soaks into the body and it deteriorates. That's some of the disadvantages. And in recommendation, I came out with some various techniques to help recommend and make this mud house a better one. One is reinforcement. As you know, now we realize reinforcement with metal steels or footings in lintels, columns, beams, and girders could be reinforced with treatment. If you are using wood for reinforcement, you can treat the bamboo or the rebars to resist cracking due to change of temperatures in the tropical climate. Unlike bamboo, our composite material is waterproof and therefore capable of standing tensile load in long-term conditions without any problems of swelling or shrinkage or insect attack. I mean, if we treat the woods before we use it for the mud house, this could really help us a lot. And the second thing too we can also consider in making mud house is that quality control blocks and bricks should be used instead of just making blocks with no standard. I think quality control should really make the blocks and go through a factory process to make sure they reach standard. And wall coverings can also be done by putting some nice finishing touches on the walls and painting them. This can improve the walls. And roof coverings too. I think we can really improve the roof. When we are using a thatch roof, we can treat the woods before we put a thatch on it, and that could also make it stay longer. And sometimes in the modern world, we can also use a steel roofing, and we insulate it, and that could also help. And the floor could be cemented or concrete, and that could also help a lot in the mud house. And these are a few recommendations that I've come out with. And in conclusion, I'll say we should all engage in this traditional sustainable material. It is free and cheap, and most engineers and architects should employ it in their daily activities, in their daily work. So I recommend that architects, engineers should engage into this research and come up with more recommendations so that poor and needy people could also own their own houses, which we know most people in these rural areas have family lands that it can be given to them. Thank you. I hope you've learned a big lesson. We've learned some lesson out of this. Thanks. Bye-bye.